A dawn of death. A suspicious fire races through the packed Happy Land Social Club in the Bronx, killing 87 people, the worst in New York in 79 years.
You don't forget. Something sticks with you like that.
Hey guys, how's it going? Dudey here. I am back with another video. Today we are looking at the Happy Land Club arson attack. Before we get into that, if you could please hit that like button, subscribe and hit that notification bell. It helps me out a lot. Thank you so much. Okay, so 25th of March 1990, the Happy Land Club in the Bronx is specifically targeted for an arson attack. The target was a woman by the name of Lydia Feliciano, but rather than Lydia dying in the fire, 87 people did instead. These people that were just out to have a good time at a club. Now this club, interestingly, was actually an illegal operation. It didn't have any licenses or anything like that, which also meant that the safety precautions in place were basically non-existent. All of the exits were actually blocked because they didn't want people getting in different entrances, sneaking in for free. So the exits were blocked. There were no sprinklers in place. There was no fire alarms because it wasn't officially a nightclub. Now, the lack of all these safety precautions most definitely helped facilitate the deaths of 87 innocent partygoers. However, the man who started the fire was 36-year-old Julio González. Julio González was originally from Cuba and he had moved to America, going from state to state until landing on New York City. It was there that he met Lydia Feliciano, but their relationship was a bit rocky and eventually they broke up. Now, he was absolutely devastated by this and he wanted her back. So he went to her place of work, the Happy Land Club, and it was there that he was going to try and win her back. Now, he turned up and he was notably drunk, which really didn't help, plus the fact Lydia no longer wanted anything to do with him. So as you can imagine, this conversation quickly escalated into an argument, and because of Julio's demeanor and drunkenness, he got aggressive quite quickly, saying very, very horrible things to Lydia. Now, the doorman, the bouncer at the front door, decided enough was enough, and he threw Julio out of the club of which Lydia was working as cloakroom staff / a ticket taker. The bouncer threw Julio out and said, "Get out of here." Now, apparently, Julio said to the bouncer that night, "You're going to pay for that." So Julio went off to a local gas station and bought $1 worth of gasoline. He returned and he poured the gasoline all over the front door and all over the staircase just inside the door to the Happy Land Club. And from the sidewalk, he threw 2 matches through the door and the club went up in flames. Now, because of those safety precautions that were non-existent, those blocked exits, the only exit to this location was now on fire. Many of the people inside died from either smoke inhalation or being trampled on the floor in a panicked rush to escape the Happy Land Club, which was quickly becoming an inescapable furnace. The fear and panic ripped through that nightclub faster than the flames did. Within 3 minutes of the alarm being raised, the fire department arrived, and a further 5 minutes later, the flames were apparently extinguished. But this was far too late, and tragically 87 people lost their lives.
I've been working in the Bronx for 17 years. You cringe, you hope for the best. You hope that it's not 100 people, that it's a mistake and they all got out somehow.
And you just had to stand here, right?
There's nothing else we could do. Just stand by and wait.
For EMS workers and firefighters, the images keep on burning long after the fire's been put out. The man who died reaching for a fire extinguisher, the stairway lined with bodies that led to a landing with even more, and the second-floor doorway was choked with victims, people who died as they ran for their lives.
We had a report of people trapped inside, and yet there was not a sound coming from inside. It was just devastating. It was just devastating. As quick as you would pick a body up, there would be 2 bodies under it Some of them fused together from the heat.
Very, very few people made it out alive. Reports of 5 or 6, including Lydia Feliciano, the actual target for Julio González's arson attack. Now, because a lot of the victims died from smoke inhalation and the authorities wanted to get them identified as quickly as possible, what they did is they took photos of the deceased and they made these photographs public to any families that wanted to come and view them in order to identify their loved ones. Now, this is a news report from the day that they did this, and I need to warn you, this is harrowing footage.
What we're trying to do is to expedite as quickly as possible the identification of the possible relatives.
An emotional crowd packed the front of the school. At one point, a woman was overcome by the stress and fainted. Finally, family members were allowed to go inside and view the photos, learning for themselves what happened. Heart-rending scenes followed as people grieved, some silently, others in emotional outbursts. This young man lost his father. Kelly Mena lost his only brother.
I can't take it. I can't take it. It's my only brother. My only brother. I don't know what I'm going to do now.
The following morning, police arrived at Julio González's apartment and it reeked of gasoline. It didn't take long for Julio to confess, although initially apparently he claimed that the devil made him do it. Now, Julio was sentenced to 87 concurrent 25 to life sentences for murder and felony murder. Those murder and felony murder charges were repeated 87 times for each of his victims. He was due for parole in 2015, however he was not granted it. And in 2016, he died of a heart attack. As I said earlier, this club was running illegally, and so that meant that the owners of the club was then brought into the spotlight. Now, the actual owner died in the fire. That meant that the blame then fell to the landlord and the building owner. These were Alex De Lorenzo III and Jay Weiss. They pled guilty and were given community service as well as a $150,000 fine, which had to be put towards creating a community centre in the Bronx. And then there was a settlement out of court for the families, which equated to $15.8 million that was then split 87 ways between the families of the victims. Now, as horrendous as this case is, some good did come out of it, as a task force was put in place to basically seek out other establishments like the Happy Land Club, illegal nightclub settings where safety precautions just were not in place, and this task force was tasked with discovering them and making sure that they either complied and became legal nightclubs or were shut down. Apparently there were 1,250 illegal nightclubs in New York at the time. So there we go, guys. What do we think of the Julio González arson attack on the Happy Land Club? Absolutely tragic. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you'd like to see more, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Share my videos around as well. It really helps me out. I've also got a Facebook page which is on 250,000 followers now, so thank you so much for that. In just about 10 weeks, I think we've managed to do that, so that is absolutely incredible. Really appreciate it. Check out all my links down below. Thank you so much. I'll see you very soon. Sweet one. Geese.